appears that the MonsterVerse has a number of issues that the new series will need to tackle and resolve before it airs. The Warner Brothers MonsterVerse franchise, which began with the 2014 Godzilla reboot, has now developed into a multimedia mythology that's divided fans into two sides. Regardless of what people thought of the previous films, the announcement of the series showed us that there was a need for more monsters and hope for a better MonsterVerse on television. The challenges that Apple's Godzilla must overcome are numerous but not impenetrable. There's a mystery to the kaiju's nearly 70-year heritage, and perhaps by analyzing the howlers of previous films, the new Godzilla series might avoid them and create something truly extraordinary. So, bearing all that in mind, welcome back to Factaholic. And today, let's find out what the new Godzilla series by Apple TV Plus and Legendary needs in order to fix all the loose ends of the previous MonsterVerse films. 1. Introduction of new Titans. An action-packed monster galore. You heard that right. First things first, the MonsterVerse needs more monsters. And when will we ever see the missing Titans? I mean, out of all the 4 movies by Legendary, Godzilla vs. Kong delivers the best action sequences. Unlike King of the Monsters, they don't cut away from the fights too often. We simply get to enjoy the battle. However, these fights make up maybe a third of the movie, if that. This leaves well over an hour of just human drama. Legendary needs to understand that the biggest resounding criticism of the MonsterVerse are the human characters. Everyone who's watching this movie is watching it for its namesake. Nobody's tuned into Godzilla vs. Kong dying to see Millie Bobby Brown. If the MonsterVerse is going to continue, there needs to be a change. Get rid of the one-note characters. The audience is there for the kaiju, so they need to deliver on the kaiju. Also, if you're not going to make the human characters a priority, then don't have them be such a big part of the movie. Monarch's files throughout the movies make reference to various monsters from the past and myths connected to them. With the Godzilla show connected to Monarch, there's potential in discovering who those creatures were and what the organization did with them. 2. MonsterVerse needs to be darker, deeper, more emotional. Legendary's show has to dismiss some of the cartoony aspects and find a way to make the MonsterVerse scary again, even on an existential level. It could also potentially explore the Lovecraftian horror of concepts like Skull Island, the Hollow Earth, and King Ghidorah, and convey the idea of how little humanity understands everything they thought they knew. That would be quite the watch, like really. Also, talking about the intensity, we need just about the level of darkness and emotion present in films like Godzilla 1954, All Monsters Attack, and Shin Godzilla from 2016. The films also need to be longer in order to handle this tone better, as it applies to human characters and delving into the Titans. So the new MonsterVerse series seems like the perfect fit for just that, and honestly, I don't think a light-hearted tone is going to work anymore. And it's for the best. Legendary needs to go back to what made so many of Toho's movies beloved among fans around the world. Additionally, it can even go back to the terrors of warfare and planetary collapse by perhaps revisiting the oxygen destroyer unleashed in Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and reimagining the cataclysmic monster it created in other films. 3. Leaning more into Godzilla's history and diving deeper into the myths. The origin of the Titans in the MonsterVerse, especially Godzilla, is undoubtedly one of the most fascinating facets about the whole monsters cinematic universe that Legendary has given birth to. Kong, Skull Island, established the Hollow Earth theory, which was a belief that giant monsters could travel in secret on the planet through a system of underground tunnels. That would explain how they're able to get around without drawing the attention of humans. Godzilla King of the Monsters proved this theory when they followed Godzilla through an underwater tunnel. While there, they encountered an ancient, forgotten civilization that apparently worshipped him as their god. It was said that this place was once Godzilla's home. And we all know by now about how everything conjured up in Godzilla vs. Kong, and we were finally able to see the mysterious land of the Hollow Earth. So the new series could just explore those aspects and give us more, because at this point, we have more questions than answers. Also, Godzilla has a rich multimedia history, and if the MonsterVerse is to continue, the series can even consider going deeper into the franchise's history. The previously mentioned oxygen destroyer was an important aspect of the original Gojira, and its reappearance in Godzilla King of the Monsters made everyone go crazy, in a good way of course. Aside from environmental damage, longtime admirers knew what it was and what it meant. Destroya, one of Godzilla's fiercest antagonists, was introduced in the film, and perhaps the series can satisfy its viewers by unleashing him. 4. The next chapter of the MonsterVerse needs a better overall story. If a Godzilla show is going to be more than a few episodes long, it needs to have a greater storyline to convey than just a reason for the Titans to fight each other. As entertaining as it was, Godzilla vs. Kong relied on the novelty of a crossover to carry it, and after nearly 7 decades, fans have seen their fair share of enormous monster clashes. If the MonsterVerse becomes too dependent on it, the concept might quickly become repetitive. Easter eggs of fascinating lore are hidden in the titles or occasionally acknowledged briefly by the cast in the Godzilla films. Nevertheless, they're rarely developed upon or elaborated upon. Glimpses of vanished cities, earlier monsters, and references to former monarch instances have all the potential to produce some scientific riddles akin to Fringe. Alternatively, rather than focusing on the fights themselves, the show may provide viewers greater insight in the aftermath of a kaiju strike as a change of pace. According to a synopsis of Apple's Godzilla, the world is still grappling with the concept of Titans, creating the ideal setting for these kind of stories. Furthermore, now that the MonsterVerse has established aliens like Ghidorah, perhaps it's time to wonder what else is out there. Now, to sum it all up, the MonsterVerse still exists as one of Hollywood's most interesting blockbuster franchises because every film's an experiment with tone, visuals, and the ever-wobbly balancing act between humans and Titans. Even if audiences and critics don't always agree on exactly what these films should be, the inconsistent yet always entertaining MonsterVerse delivers the kind of big-screen thrill ride that can't be replicated, and now they're bringing that for the small screen too. The MonsterVerse is expanding and getting so massive that it can easily tower over its kaiju cast. However, if Godzilla plans to have a future on Apple TV+, it's going to have to confront the criticisms of the previous films and a loyal fanbase. And that's about it for this video. So what do you think? Will the MonsterVerse learn from their previous mistakes and capitalize on the new series? Will we see a whole lot of new Titans? Which Toho Titan would you want to see in the MonsterVerse? Do let us know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, it's been a real pleasure. This is Factaholic, and we'll see you around with another new video. Until then, take care and hope you have a good time ahead.